You want this heel cut right here, and this one here tied up against your top plates, or in my case, tied up against the beam. See that right there? That's where the problem is. I've been working on building a shed for this sawmill, and I can't wait to get that thing under the roof. I thought it would be wonderful. I don't know if wonderful is the right word, but I thought it might be at least somewhat educational. A lesson on how to cut bird's mouth and rafters in a real world application. Now what I have here, front beam out here and a back beam. The top of this beam here is 36 inches higher than that beam back there. So for every foot that you measure out horizontally, if you go up 3 inches, that's what angles that on. So if you come over 1 foot, it's 3 inches. If you come over 2 feet, 6 inches. 3 feet, 9 inches. 4 feet, 12 inches. And if you come over 12 feet, then from there to there is 36 inches. Does that make sense? And then you can apply this same principle to whatever you're building. So what I've brought in here, what we're going to use just for a pretend, this is a pretend rafter. It's 14 feet, 5 or 6 inches plus or minus. It's the same length as what the rafters are going to be. It's just not the same width. But for the purposes of laying this off, the width of it, let's just go ahead and pretend that this is a 2x6, okay? So this is your rafter. So the first thing you want to do with your rafter is you want to look down the top of it and check your crown, okay? Because you want the bow to be at the top of your rafter, always. That's extremely important. Now, what we're making here is a pattern. This is going to be the pattern for all of our rafters. We don't have that many, but the ones we're going to be using, all of them, we're going to make them all the same, because in our case, the building's 12 foot wide by 12 foot wide, so we shouldn't have to make any modifications. This is the top, right? This is the bottom. Now on the end here, when I stand this thing up, let me get a little piece of something here. All right, pretend that's the rafter. When I stand that thing up at an angle like that, I want this end to be plumb or straight up and down. If you leave it sticking out like that, when the rain comes, it's going to get wet and pretty soon going to rot your rafter. You don't want this rafter sticking out. You want the tin sticking out past your rafter. You know what I'm saying? Now, you don't have to cut the angle on it. You can leave it like that as long as your tin's out past it. But for looks, it just looks better. In my opinion, could be wrong, if you cut that where it's standing straight up and down. Now, we're doing a 3/12 pitch. This end of the framing square from here to here is 16 inches. And this from here to here is 24 inches. If I put this on here right there, remember this is the top. If I put that right there at the 3, see that 3 on there? On the outside of this, and I come down here to the outside of this, right there's the 12, right there's the 3. So if I strike that line right there, that's going to be my 3/12 pitch for the end of that. You probably noticed that 3/12, it didn't go all the way to the top. What you can do, you can double that, come down here and go to the 6 on the outside here. Go to that 6 right, if you're doing a 3/12, all right? Go to that 6, and then you'd go to the 24 on this end. Put your 6 right there. Put your 24 right there, okay? And it gives you the exact same line. Now, we want to put what's called a bird's mouth that's going to be sitting on that back beam back there. We want this overhang to be 12 inches. Well, if I just come up here and do like that, 12 inches, that's not going to be 12 inches because I'm putting it on an angle. But if I go to 3 and I go to 12, right there and right there. Now put me a little tick mark right there at 12. You see that? Put me a little tick mark right there. Now on the angle, see that measures from right there to right there. That measures 12 inches. So right there is going to be the outside of the lower beam. The beam's 6 inches wide. If I go 1.5 inches and 6, which as you know is half of the 312, then right there, wish I had something 6 inches wide. Let me go find a piece of a post. I'll be right back. So what I've got, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the end of that off. Now if this is gonna be my pattern, my piece that I was gonna use to make all the other rafters with, I'd want to be as accurate as I could be in making sure that I get that straight. That's called a plunge cut, by the way. I don't recommend doing that your first cut because the chances of kickback are extremely strong. All right, so that's the plunge cut. Now, so this overhang, I hope you're with me, out past the post. Let me show you where the post. So the post is going to sit right there, just like that. So this post is vertical, straight vertical. And the end of that, if you can see that, is parallel with this line right here. So then when we go to nail it, we'll toenail in through here, maybe one through there. Normally you'll put 3, put 2 here and 1 on the other side, but you just read your wood and you just want to get her fastened down good and tight. All right, so that's where your post sits. Now, we got this end done, right? We're ready. We know how to do that. Any questions? Drop them in the comments. If I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I'll try to send you somebody who can. Okay, so what we have now, hang with me, outside edge to the outside edge of the beam, that's 12 inches. Now, we know we've got 12 feet from the outside edge of the beam to the outside edge of the other beam. How are we going to get that? Well, if we go 312 and we put a tick mark right there where that 12 is, we've gone 1 foot. Now there's a thing, I think they're called stair gauges. Little thing right like this. You can put those on you. All right, that's 1. So I'll put that right there. That's on 3. Okay? Put that right there. That's on 12. So I'll make me another tick mark. So from the outside of the post, I've gone 1 foot. This is 2 feet. Let's walk it on down. This is 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet. And we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on every one of these, I'm touching at the 3 and the 12 on every one. So that right there in here so you can see what I've done. Here to here is 12 inches. Set the post right here. Come from here, which is outside of the post, to this point. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, what do I know about this 12? This is 12 feet from the outside of the post down there. This is the outside of the post here. Okay, so the post sits right under here. Let's make this bird's mouth, and we'll put that angle on there, and then we'll see how it works. You with me so far? I can almost still remember the first time a carpenter showed me this. I was lost because I never had geometry in school, and if I did, or I don't remember, if I did, I slept through it. All right, so now let me drop you in here. Okay, now we've decided this is 12 feet from the outside of that post, and so we need to come back. If we go 6 inches, 6, I'm putting that on 6 right there, and if I put that on 1.5 inches, so right there, this is the outside of the beam, all right, and this is the inside of the beam because the beam's 6 inches wide too. All right, now, so I go from there to there. That's at the 3 and the 12, and that's 12 inches, and I need that line going right up through there at that mark. How am I going to do that? Well, I can't do it like that. Can I do it like that? Well, shoot, yeah. Or I can take these off. I'm just going to eyeball it and see if I've got it about right. But I could take those off and do the 624, but I think I got it about right. Alrighty, so we got this rafter cut, and I hope that I've explained it well enough to where you can follow it. Now, the only thing I know to do is let's just test it. While I got you here, let me mention something. I was looking last night. 7 out of 10 of you that's watching my videos are not subscribed. Now, I realize in our generation, we didn't want to subscribe to anything unless it's Sports Illustrated or something, and then we knew we was going to have to pay a subscription fee. With this YouTube thing, there's no subscription fee, okay? It doesn't cost you a penny. You just reach up there where it says subscribe. I don't know if you're watching on phone or a tablet or a TV or however you're doing it. You probably can't do it if you're watching it on TV. You probably have to go onto your phone, click on the YouTube, type in Sawdust and Sweat NC, go to the channel, and there'll be a place there where you can hit that subscribe button. If you'll do that, and then occasionally drop a comment or something, just say, hey, Steve, I don't like what you're doing, or I like what you're doing, or whatever, just something. And then there's also a thing there that's got a thumb on it. It's called the like button, I think. If you click on that, doing all of those things helps. I would appreciate it very, very much if you'd go to the trouble of subscribing, commenting, liking, and there's somewhere, and I don't know exactly how you do it, there's a notification bell. And if you tap on that, then the next time I post a video or a short or something, you'll get a notification on your phone or however you communicate that I posted something, might be something worthy of your time. I hope it is. Anyway, wanted to interject this. Now back to the rafter work. So as you can see, we got 12 inches. And that sits on there nice and flat and tight. And if we did all our math right, looks like we didn't. But this beam may be out of plumb. I don't know. One of them may be out of plumb. We got an inch over. Oh, I see what it is. I see, said the blind man. See that beam up there? Now it's 19 inches tall, but it's not plumb. Okay, it's leaning out an inch. So my rafter's right. I just got to straighten this up right here. I'll show you on the level. See that right there? That's where the problem is. Now just a little bit ago, that was before lunch, I showed you my little pattern rafter there and had the gap there up there at the top truss. Well, I wasn't satisfied with that because some people may say, well, that's a problem. And something's not right. Well, let me just show you something. What I've done here, I put a ratchet strap on here. Now let me show you what I'm going to do. So what I've did, what you would need to do, and it's what I've done, this was my little pattern piece. I'm sure that it is right, okay? The gap I had out there. So what I did, I took this piece, the little pattern piece that I had, and I transferred it over, nice racket, to the straightest popper 2x6 that I had. So now this is going to be my pattern, right here. This is old Pat. See right there? So that's going to be the one that is going to be the design for all of the rafters. They're all going to be cut off of that one. What you want to do when you're cutting your pattern now, again, make sure the crown, right here is the top side, okay? This is the bottom. So you want to always make sure that your crown is up. You got plenty of room here, so I've marked this in. And where your bird's mouth is, you all want to take your hand and rub it right there. And make it flush at the top, okay? It may come down a little bit lower, but flush it up at the top. That's where you want to flush it, and then mark your other piece. Get it as close as you can to straight. You can see right here, this one's got a 1/2 inch bow in it right there, but that's all right. All right, get it flush here at the top, where you're gonna mark your bird's mouth. Get it flush right there, and mark your next one. Now you're ready to cut that one. We're gonna show that we don't have a problem. Does that make sense? Okay, you see that gap up there? If you'll watch it for me and let me know. I'll bring you in here in a minute. Now I went ahead and pre-drilled some holes. This is low side, and here's the high side. can see, I guess you can see, got that little gap there. We're gonna tighten that up. How about hollering at me again when that, I think that's got it. So as you can see, what I was calling a situation was no situation at all. Now we're ready to rock and roll. We just need to cut some rafters. Wonder who's gonna cut rafters. I guess that would be me. I really do sincerely hope that the lesson here, if you had to take a test on it, you could pass it. How's that? Hey friend, I'll see you in the next one.